With me in the studios today, I have a very special guest all the way from South Africa. His name is Regent Wayne Khami. He is the regent, the leader of the Khoi tribe, one of the first indigenous tribe of South Africa. And it's really wonderful having you here. Thank you so much, Regent.
Thank you very much. It's what an honor to be in your beautiful city.
It's a beautiful city, right?
Absolutely.
You like it here?
Yeah, my problem is I went to the market
Yes.
uphill from the hotel, and when I returned, it was uphill.
It was uphill. Well, it's a city of hills. That's the problem with
Absolutely.
Jerusalem. You
Yeah.
get your exercise here.
You get your exercise, you get some strong legs.
Yes.
It's such a pleasure walking through the city. So much to see, so historically rich.
Yes, it is.
It is revitalizing. It's good for your soul.
Thank you
Come
so
to
much.
Jerusalem.
Thank you so much for saying that. We met over a year ago when we opened up the Indigenous Embassy of Jerusalem for the First Nations Indigenous tribes from all over the world that came to bless Jerusalem. And you said something there on stage that I will never forget for the rest of my life. I will carry it with me. You said, if the Jewish people are not indigenous to the land of Israel, nobody is indigenous anywhere.
Yeah. The Jewish nation has got the most, I believe, comprehensive written history that's verifiable, not just in the stones, but in the books, in the annals of their friends and the enemies. So there's no other place we can call the homeland of the Jewish nation than this Holy Land. So I stand by what I said, and I believe that it to be true. Everywhere around the world where there's people, you will now find the Jewish scriptures, the Old, like we call it the Old and the New Testament. And a lot of people, the majority of the world, know the history of the Jews. The calling of Abraham, the first Hebrews, the covenant that Hashem made with them, the time in Egypt and their redemption, the glorious stories of the kings and the judges of King David. You can ask children about the battle of David and Goliath, and they will be able to tell you. Nearly in every nation, people speak about David and Goliath. They refer to what happened thousands of years ago in this land. And not so far from us, we have the city of David. Nobody can deny this. It's not something you suck out of your thumb. It's not something. Everybody that is against the word of the Almighty will deny Jewish indigeneity in this land. So yes, the Jews are from here. They belong here, and they will never leave here.
God bless you for your support. Regent, you are from also an indigenous tribe of your land. Tell us a little bit about the Khoi tribe.
Thank you very much. I love speaking about the Khoi people. The Khoi are the first nation of Southern Africa, the southernmost part of the African continent. In fact, we are two sister nations, the Khoi and the San. The San is more on the inland side and on the coastal side, and a little bit on the inside is the Khoi people. Everybody who came to the southern part of Africa found us there. The Chinese, the Portuguese, the English, the Dutch, even tribes from North Africa that came down found us there. So we regard ourselves as the first, rightfully so, the First Nations. And even in our culture, there's not a lot of written records. Most of our records are the drawings of our people in the rocks. Yeah, that is where we are from. That's where I am from. Khoi has got, like the nation of Israel's got 12 tribes. There's quite a few tribes in the Khoi people. The Nama, the Kohukwa, the Hainekwa, the Hesekwas, the Inkwas. So there's many Kwa, meaning people. There's many tribes that form the Khoi nation. Unfortunately, we are not united. We've also got splinter groups and different groups. But the Khoi is, we believe, a purposeful nation in Africa, in Southern Africa. We've got a threefold purpose. As the first nation of the land, we believe that we have got a priestly function to intercede and pray for the land. The second function is we believe that we are the peacemakers or the reconcilers in the land, making peace between people. And thirdly, we believe that we are the stewards of the land, taking care of what the Almighty has given us, whether it's resources in the ground, living, animals, plants, people. We need to take care of it. And so you are most welcome
I can't wait.
to visit the southern parts of Africa. The Khoi was spread over different boundaries. So the boundaries in southern Africa were colonial boundaries. So Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, all those were colonial boundaries. And the Khoi lived in all those.
In all of those.
In all of this. So we call ourselves the Khoi of Southern Africa, not particularly South Africa, although South Africa has got a majority of the Khoi people. One interesting thing that you might not know is one of our tribes, one of our bigger tribes, is the Nama tribe. And the country Namibia is named after the Nama tribe. And the Namib Desert is named after the Nama tribe. What a glorious group of people is the Nama tribe. Mostly you find them in the northwestern parts of southern Africa and in Namibia.
Yeah. Wonderful. I can't wait. I can't wait to visit. And so essentially from your history, your people have been colonized many times.
Yes.
And you yourself had to live through one of those, I guess, colonizations, which was South Africa before it was dependent. Afrikaans, I guess, and apartheid. And so having lived through that, through apartheid, which maybe you can talk about a little bit, and you come here and you hear the accusations that Israel is an apartheid state. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is very close to my heart to be able to correct this. I may just step a little bit back and just tell you that many people came and wanted to conquer us. The Chinese came past, and I think they were more interested in trade. Then the Portuguese, and one of our greatest battles, we fought against the Portuguese at the Battle of Salt River. And the Viceroy d'Almeida with his men were defeated by the Khois. That stands out as one of our great victories. And that ensured that Portugal wasn't the colonizers. The Dutch came later, more than 100 years later, because the story of the Khoi was around the world, and they came with superior weaponry. And
so you scared off the next colonizers after you beat the Portuguese? After
we beat the Portuguese, they were not keen to come.
Not keen to come back.
And in the 1600s, the Dutch came. First as traders, but then through deception and warfare, they unfortunately overwhelmed us.
Mm.
Going further, hundreds of years, we experienced one of the darkest histories of humanity, called apartheid.
Yeah.
Apartheid was evil. It was entrenched. It was coded in the law books. It was enforced through the barrel of a gun. It was removing the essence, the soul of a people based on the color of the skin. Was horrendous. It was economic warfare. It was psychological oppression. It meant that our people were degraded and our dignity was removed. We didn't have justice, equality under the law. Our land was possessed, removed from us through the Group Areas Act. The education system was against us. We had what we call gutter education. There were job preservations. So you could not follow a career of your heart. Everything was against us. You couldn't go as a non-white person to certain beaches. The elite beaches was for whites only. If you traveled in a bus or a train, you were clearly designated a place to sit, where the one side was for the whites and the others for the non-whites. The joke is that people could walk with their black dogs on the beach, but black people were not allowed. But apartheid was not a joke. It was a serious assault against God's creation. So I'm upset, I'm disturbed, I'm angry when people call Israel an apartheid state. They make light of our suffering, of our blood, of our insult against the heart and soul of the non-white South Africans, and not just the Khoi, the Indians, the black tribes were all insulted and degraded by the evil apartheid laws. What makes me angry is that that some black South Africans call Israel the apartheid state. Now, this is what I say. I say that if you call Israel an apartheid state, it means you've never been here.
Right. Because anybody who's gone through apartheid would walk around here and would think, what? This is a...
We couldn't get our judges as lower magistrates. Here in Israel today, you've got Arab
Supreme
judges
Court?
in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Our people in the army, in fact, the Khoi, I'm very proud to say, the Khoi people are one of the brave soldiers. And when they were asked to track the enemy, they will find them. They were very good trackers. But if you had a Khoi sergeant, you will have to submit to a corporal if he's white.
Right.
So
there was a glass ceiling constantly.
Yeah. So in the IDF, you've got Muslim officers were Jewish.
Commanding Jewish soldiers.
Exactly. That's the point. So if you are from the Middle East and you call Israel an apartheid state, you have got no idea what apartheid is like. So I'm calling on my South African compatriots and say, come have a look. Come look at Israel. Come see how Arab and Jew live hand in hand together, work in the same company. In South Africa, you would never have a black doctor. Number one, it was against the law to go that route. So very few black doctors existed during the apartheid time. You will never have a white person going to a black doctor. In Jerusalem,
Yeah.
so many Jews go to Arab doctors.
40-50% of the doctors are nurses are Arab.
Yes. So, no. Israel is not an apartheid state. In fact, there are other nations that you can call apartheid states where being a Christian will get you arrested and will get you victimized and even killed.
Yeah.
Not here. Here we see Muslims, Druze, Christians, and you know the Christians got all sorts of different
Denominations.
groupings.
Yeah.
Jews, the Orthodox, and the secular Jews living hand by hand, side by side, in peace. Apartheid didn't allow that. In apartheid, you could not marry, a white couldn't marry a black. So if there was a cross
Mixed
culture,
race.
a mix marriage, you would have to flee and go to England if the money and the love is strong enough and get married there. They even had an immorality act against in cases where there was no marriage, no sexual relations between races. So it was evil to the core. Apartheid was evil to the core. And it's 40 years and more after apartheid. And we still struggle with the scars and the trauma and the backlog, the economic
I guess marginalization of an entire
and
group of people.
The economic, you are economically way behind those that were favored.
Of course.
Yeah. So I cannot even consider Israel to be an apartheid state. Yes.
And Regent, what's gone wrong with the South African government that they've basically turned it into their mission to villainize, demonize Israel?
During the struggle for equality and the end of apartheid, we had some great leaders. Amongst Nelson Mandela, Ellen Busak, Trevor Manuel, great leaders. All right. What has gone wrong? Politics has become the anti-apartheid struggle was grassroots, was down, but the main engine of anti-apartheid fight, the ANC, has lost the moral compass. They've become corrupt. When the ANC wanted to contest the previous elections, before then, they accused Israel of genocide.
Was that part of their own political campaign? Would they get support from some parts of the population? Why?
Well, I don't think that the majority of South Africans supported that.
Right.
South Africans claim in the last census to be about 80% of South Africans claim to be Christians.
Okay.
And they would want to have righteousness and justice. But let me just talk about the
Of course.
genocide issue. I was privileged to visit the slaughter site at the Nova Festival.
Yeah. Painful, huh? So painful.
It's hard.
Because it's young people.
It's I see faces. When I see those faces of those young men and women, I think it could be my family.
Of course.
And when I saw the videos that wasn't released on social media, it is utterly inhuman what happened there. So, one, I support Israel's right to defend themselves. If the government of Israel did not take the action to defend themselves, they would be negligent and not worthy of being a government.
Right.
Number two, I believe that you cannot live with a constant threat of terrorism on your doorstep. You need to make sure that it does not happen again. So when South Africa took Israel to the criminal court, I was rather upset. It bothered me. And I distanced myself and the Khoi people, that's part of my group, we've distanced ourselves from the South African government. We believe, and there's this alleged story that a foreign country gave them money and they became puppets of a foreign regime. So their moral compass is distorted.
I mean, they're also mismanaging the country. It's not that this is the only thing going on. There's a lack of water. There's violence.
The ANC was supposed to be the poster child of a new South Africa. They've messed it up. South Africa has gone backwards. There's more murders a day in South Africa than any time in the history of South Africa. Not even the apartheid regime killed as many people as there are murders in South Africa. The rand has lost its value from being 1-on-1 to the dollar.
Wow.
It's now 17 rands to the dollar.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we are privileged to have some individuals who speak up, who point out to the mismanagement, the corruption, the crime of the ANC government. In some parts of our country, it is you are penalized if you employ Khoi descendants.
Really?
Yes.
They see you as an enemy? They see you as a troublemaker?
Part of the Employment Equity Act,
right,
which where the Khoi people are being classed as not the ideal percentage of people that needs to be employed in that specific area.
So they're practicing some type of tribalism, classism, racism.
Yes. Yes. So the ANC couldn't even manage their own political party. Mm. There was a time when they couldn't even pay their own members, their own. So instead of being the poster child, they've made South Africa gone backwards. Some people has gone forward, politicians and their cronies. The well-known Zondo Commission exposed a lot of corruption in South Africa. So they're not doing a good job. And after the accusation against Israel, ANC was higher than 50% of the vote. This time around, they're less than 50%. 65%. They were over 65% in previous elections, some areas with 80% of the vote. So in this last election, they were less than 50% and they had to form a coalition government. I believe we've seen the end of ANC domination.
You think so?
Yes.
When's the next election?
There's an election in 2026. That's a municipal and provincial election. And then will be another election 2 years after that, which is the national election. If they do not repent and turn and make right what was wrong, it will be the end. It's more than 40 years, a trial period, 40 years time that they would have been governing. I don't see them changing. They've become radical, taking up affairs of other people instead of fixing their own trouble in their own backyard. They're not doing well.
Mm.
The ANC is not doing well.
And what gives you hope, Regent Wayne? What gives you hope?
My hope is in the Almighty. I trust that at the end, righteousness will prevail. Our victory is certain. The fact that we have got battles along the way should not discourage us, but I think we will overcome. I'm encouraged by South Africans that stand up. I must tell you also about the Jewish community in South Africa.
Yes.
We've got a very, very strong Jewish community. They are very, very influential, and they are a real benefit to the country. They are one of the big employers. You know, South Africa has got a huge unemployment problem.
Mm.
So they are of the big employers and household names. But unfortunately, anti-Semitism also rose his head in South Africa. There's a growing group or groups that are anti-Israel. And so we need to get the story out, the word out, the message out of the truth. I believe that the fight is not really against the Jews. The fight is to make sure that the promises of the Almighty does not happen.
So you see this as a spiritual battle?
I see this as a battle between the Almighty and Satan. If the Jews can be destroyed, it means that the Almighty's word is not true.
Mm.
If Jerusalem can be overrun, and it means that Israel is not the eternal home of the Jews. So the Jews are in the battle and are the ones that need to be destroyed by Satan in order for him to prove that the Almighty lies. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because he cannot lie. It is impossible for him to lie. And I want to encourage the Jewish people that they should just hang on to him, even through the storm of war and of the massacres, that they will find hope in the Torah, in the Tanakh. There are so many promises of him that he will take care of the Jews. He will take care of his people, that you are his chosen people. And nobody can take that away from you.
Well, it's wonderful that we have allies like you
Thank
to
you.
come here to the Holy Land, the Holy City, Jerusalem, to remind us. Because sometimes it's hard to see it from inside when you're in the middle of it. But to have a spiritual leader and a tribal leader like you to come here to give us encouragement and to remind us, to us, is extremely meaningful and strengthens us. So, Regent Wayne Khami, really thank you so much for being here with us. It's wonderful to talk to you.
Thank you. It was my honor. Long live Jerusalem.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.